I read the news so that you don't have to. Remember when Donald Trump was going to impose all these tariffs on China and they were all going to pay? Yeah, I don't think that worked out. So according to this article, US businesses and consumers have paid 90% of the tariffs that have been imposed in the last year. And this is despite claims from Donald J. Trump that foreign companies were going to bear the burden for these tariffs. New York Fed study found that for the first 11 months, most of the tariff costs were passed on to the ordinary consumer. And this is kind of bad news for Donald J. Trump because his little tariff regime is under fire from a number of angles. So you've got the Supreme Court. They're about to rule on his ability to even levy these charges in the first place. Then you had a couple of Congress people from the Republican side who broke with party ranks and voted in favor of legislation to reverse the tariff charges on Canada. And if you're unaware, Canada is one of the US's most important trading partners. So in August of last year, Donald Trump got on his little fake Twitter thing and in all caps lock said the following: billions of dollars, largely from countries that have taken advantage of the United States for many years, laughing all the way, will start flowing into the USA. Not sure what the laughing all the way thing was, but anyway, that really didn't happen because they did get $124 billion from these tariffs, but the call was coming from inside the building, babe. That money was coming from your people. And before anyone jumps in and be like, well, that was a New York Fed study. There were other studies, babes. The other studies were worse. Some of them were at like 94%. Some of them were saying 96%. US were paying. The US were paying. There was an independent think tank called Tax Foundation, and they found that in 2025, the average cost to the American household was an extra $1,000. And in this year, it's going to be $1,300. So I hope you got a pay rise. Now, I'm not just a wench that will leave you so unsatisfied. I have a small, very sliver of a silver lining on one of the grey clouds that hangs over London. So it's not all bad news. These tariffs were expected to have a big impact on inflation, and that actually hasn't materialized. The impact on inflation has been quite muted. So in January 2025, the consumer growth was around 3%, and by December, it had dropped to 2.7%. Sorry, I meant consumer price growth. And I know what you're thinking. Well, that's not the biggest good news. It's not. But I don't know what to tell you. We're here now. All I can say, well, good news is, I don't know, at least Bad Bunny won the Super Bowl.